brothers and sisters. Um,
Thank you.
and because they don't want to do it themselves. And this is what is being done all the time. We are always being used to fight against our own. And we are not waking up. So it shows still that in 2024, where the mindset of our people is still. And that is why I'm telling you, a part of what we got to do in order to get where we really want to get is to focus on a re-education program and some paradigm shifting before we could even get to that level of, getting very militant and so on. Because a lot of the people in the Caribbean are still brainwashed into that Eurocentric mindset and that Eurocentric paradigm. So a lot has to be done in terms of rewiring the brains of especially the young, and that's why we have to target the young. So I agree with you in terms of looking at these economic, because we're gonna need money to mobilize as well. So if we could train people in the stocks and crypto and forex and whatever it is, whatever other means of making money alongside teaching about the roots and consciousness, so they go simultaneously so that it's beneficial for them. At the same time, they're learning or relearning what they should learn. That's a good way of addressing it.
Go ahead, sister. You had something to say?
I think she probably got distracted because she seemingly not necessarily um, here with us.
Hello.
Oh,
Yes.
did you have a response?
Um.
As far as it was
Well,
about re-education primarily.
So the thing is this: the people here, right? The colonization has really done a number on the true YDKs, the youth of Corso, the people who are from here. Um, we can attempt to. They're very kind of closed-minded. Anything that is outside of what their little bubble, Curacao. Um, but we can try.
Okay, okay, and that's why I was well. Uh, one of the
This
things.
island is divided. Like he said, there's so many different nationalities that come here to make money. They make their money and they send it back to their country where they come from. Um,
Are these
so
Caribbean
it's
nationalities? Caribbean nationalities?
um,
Or talking about
people from
European?
Jamaica, people
Oh,
from Venezuela, people from Colombia, um, Haitian people, um,
wow.
the usual statia. But yeah, and what I'm realizing now is a lot of Americans are coming here in droves.
Are they
In droves.
are they African Americans or European
No,
Americans?
no, they
Okay.
are run of the mill trailer park.
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. Is there any consulates in Curacao from the Caribbean? Uh, consulates like embassies.
Um, there are some spread about.
So
Off
my
the top of my head,
yeah.
I can't think, but there are some. I just have to do my homework and my research. And
'Cause my thing is my suggestion is that if we start, let's say Jacksonville or Miami has a Caribbean associations and embassies are alerted, hey, we're doing this program. Uh, then the embassy, for example, in Curacao, should have contacts with the associations that would report to you guys, and basically the embassy should be working for us. If we could, sometimes
right.
we have to twist their hands. Politics. We all know the politics of the world.
The consulate
Yeah,
here, they're real. Oh gosh,
yeah. So
the American
the
consulate is it's like a secret society.
the
They made a
consulates, yeah,
mistake.
the embassies, yeah.
They made a mistake a few years ago. Well, it wasn't a mistake because everything happens for a reason. My son was going to the international school, and they had a Christmas party at the consulate. I went to a town hall there. Also, I was the only, person of color and kind of the only young one. Um, they kind of stray away from, they try to keep it straight laced.
Mhm.
The neighborhoods that they said are deemed the baddest, the worst neighborhoods are like, uh, they wouldn't take kind to the Curacao people, wanting their freedom and independence, like really, because
Oh,
we have Tula here, but it was crazy because there's a celebration, and it had a picture of the alleged king of the Netherlands. Like, why is his pale ass face plastered on this thing for Tula? Like, it's just it's really bad here as far as the colonization goes, and as far as just the whitewashing and them trying to erase everything. They give, and it's Tula.
the
Like Tula was the only freedom fighter. They don't talk about anybody else.
Tula's from Congo, Congo Empire, right? Tula. Uh, he has a
I'm not
statue.
sure where he was originated from, but Tula was the one who uh, they had the freedom fighting here, and Tula is famous because he liberated the country.
Wow. Okay, I need to look into that. Maybe Tula might be one of the Maroons too. I think I saw something like that. I overlooked
Yeah,
it.
maybe.
Well,
So, I mean,
yeah, we could.
I've lived here for a little over 2 years, and it's not going to be easy. Like I said, it's not,
One of the things, I've observed is symbols. So as far as and the Caribbean is hard traveling and figuring like we could take years if we don't do it right to do something simple like traveling. Maybe there should be a set number of countries that we visit if we get the finances or the ability to travel and spread the programs face to face meet like maybe just we do a ceremony at the statues if it's Tula. I know
yeah,
Barbados has Busa. Haiti has the unknown maroons, or maybe that I don't know if you could access it because that's in the capital that's on fire, I guess. But a lot of these people have statues or they have villages that are African centered. Um, I'm not worried about St. Kitts and Nevis. They got a whole flag under, and it's a small country. The government, I think the government, we can use our numbers here in the USA to talk to the government and get on ground. But it's about having the programs ready, like the brother said. Uh, Bahamas and Haiti, they're right next to Florida. Virgin Islands, which is a U.S. territory. Um, One of the sisters that's organizing with the Virgin Islands here in Jacksonville, she contacted me about having a representation at a festival called World of Nations. So that's a Jacksonville annual event. I was thinking maybe have a UNIA represent itself as a nation, like where we have set up a booth and we just say, hey, we have a nation. And really, the UNIA is sometimes you can call it theocracy, which is a government by traditional religion. So it's like I don't know. It's something like the Vatican's like a mix up of different ideas, but it's like we could represent ourselves maybe at a world festival or something like that. That's just one idea, but I'm ready to mobilize people here and tell them what we got on ground. We got Curacao. I have to talk to Haiti, Trinidad. I've talked to. These are bigger islands. They work with Jamaica, so it's pretty much going. Uh, Bahamas and Barbados, I don't have direct contact. St. Kitts and Nevis, I don't have direct contact, at least on the ground. But I'm just gonna work on it. So that's just the update. I'm glad you guys tuned in, but it would be on me now to bring more support. Like people want to see people on ground. That's what the brother, uh, um, the king in Curacao, called Okechukwu, brother Magales.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He says he said he mentioned it. Meeting in person is important. So that's what it is. So and one of the things I said was shrinking the Caribbean as far as having headquarters, shrinking anywhere, having headquarters, and making sure people report in and check it. That builds up um, say capacity. It builds up numbers. When you say this is the headquarters, we agree, and then other people say maybe the next trip will be over here. So having headquarters is important. That's why I noted things down like Haiti is a French decolonization headquarters, Curacao Dutch, then I guess Jamaica English speaking. So it could rotate, but that's up to it can be talked about, but that's where we're at. And now I just got to talk to people in the where I'm located at and see see what it is. And one thing I think is a good sign, but I'm short on time. They're having a picnic tomorrow, but there's the Virgin Islands over here leads the Caribbean Association. So it's a U.S. territory. They're not in CARICOM. So, but they took the leadership saying we're going to organize all the Caribbean associations and government networks in Jacksonville to make sure we're part of it. So, and they reach out to me. They're African centered and they got so as much as it can be. So
Right.
we'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna talk to them. Continue to talk to them, but I don't think they're on WhatsApp or anything. So that might be an issue. But we'll see. I'm gonna pop. I'm gonna make something happen. Miami was another big one in the USA. Texas and DC also. So, but I'm gonna take brief notes. Post it and just move forward. We'll see what's coming on in the USA. But brother Yasan, do you know brother? Well, I could ask you offline because I could ask you offline. But it's having someone on ground would be, I think, it'd be advantageous. But there's ways to
Yeah,
get this
no
thing.
problem. um, Technically, like I'm telling you, even though I am here in the US, I am very much connected on the ground. I communicate with people on St. Kitts and Nevis on a regular. I'm still a part of the ORU, the Organization of Rastafari Unity in on St. Kitts and Nevis. They are connected to the Caribbean Rastafari Organization, and so yeah, I mean, it's not big
Oh,
or hard for me to make that connection when and if we have something going.
okay. So that puts it in context. You're suggesting of having a African centered program first, a reorientation or event. Because I'd like to go. I like if resources is not a problem to be face to face or have people going face to face. And I can imagine if I go into the community here and say, hey, there's a group in St. Kitts that's hosting this, and then start sending the people. I go to St. Kitts all the time. Somebody's gonna say that, and then they're going to maybe take the program from here in Florida to the island. That's my idea. Just dispatch people and have a reception team. That's my idea.
Well, and I think that's where the opportunity for funding will be critical because
Hmm.
a lot of these groups and organizations, yes, they would need funding to keep if they're going to host a function or anything like that because in a lot of cases the membership is small, and like I tell you, there's only a few faithful,
Uh,
real
die,
deeply
die hard.
Afro-centered people. Yeah.
So,
So majority of the time it's still about recruiting and getting people to see the need for us to do this. But because of the brainwashing, the brain bleaching, it is so much in effect that majority of the people we have gotten to the point where, just like in America, you had the civil rights and all that, and then they kind of set up this kind of inclusivity thing, so people feel like, okay, well, we don't have to sit at the back of the bus anymore. We can go to the same restaurants, we can go to the same shops, we can go to the same stores, and so they feel like, we're there. We don't need to fight anymore. We don't need to put up this resistance anymore. So you sometimes, when you do, then you seem to be the one who's creating problems. Like, oh, why y'all don't go sit down? Why y'all don't, what I mean? Oh, y'all coming back with this African thing and this, so these are some of the pushback that you get from your own people. In a lot of cases, the greatest fight come from our very own, and Rastafari know that, because, like I tell you, in the Caribbean, when Rastafari started, it wasn't so much the Europeans who fought Rastafari.
Yeah,
Rastafari biggest fighters were
the
those who
government,
were
black government.
already went through the transatlantic slave trade. And
Hmm.
it shows how powerful the brainwashing is and was, so much that even your own people fought against you. And so,
Yeah.
these are some of the challenges that we have to deal with, and that's the realities on the ground. So that's why I'm telling you, sometimes when I talk to you and I tell you these things, I don't even think like, oh man, he's just trying to make excuses. It's not
No, it's
excuses, it's
real.
the
No,
realities on the ground.
no, it's not. It's
They hate themselves, honestly.
no,
Yeah,
no,
especially here.
it's this. It'll come together. But I know the realities. I'm in Nigeria is 200 million people. That's where my base is. I know these things, but it's just slow progress. But one of the things I had some people texting when I told this is like reverse psychology. I tell people in the USA I've been texting for months, years actually. Hey, blah blah blah. Now I have a Caribbean base. They weren't helping. They weren't reaching out. But now I have a Caribbean base. I say I'm switching my attention off of them in the USA. They start texting like madmen, saying, looking like they're organizing. Now I say that I don't really need them. Now they want to volunteer services and things. So I don't know. One person in Atlanta was asking for farmers. And Atlanta, if you know, it's like the Washington D.C. of the South, next to Miami. They
Yes.
have all the embassies is right there. So if they had an event there in Atlanta and if they put it out to the community, it would be a shame if you don't show up. It's like they have to put on a show a lot of the time. So if they actually had an event in Atlanta and said, "Hey, we're going to start dispatching people to these different islands," and they'd have to follow through and be publicly, held accountable to the public. It's just I've been talking to these people for years and they never, now all of a sudden they want to talk. But that's the thing with our people. If you can shame them or hold them accountable to a public, then they'll be accountable. But as soon as you turn your eyes away from them, they go to politics or they go to this or that. So it's all about accountability. There's ways to make it happen, but it's on me at this point. I think I could talk to different cities, but I'm focused on Jacksonville right now. Um, Caribbean Power Radio reached out to me. Different people are starting to reach out to me about what I'm doing or what I'm trying to do, and we'll see. But it's pretty much on
So
me at
what
this
what
point.
what what you may have to do is use those who you have at this moment that are, committed, to start to be the catalyst for whatever it is that you want to do. Because when, as you mentioned, when they see that at least some are organized, then they may want to jump on board as well. But even so, we still need as many as possible. So even if they lag behind, and then you still have to, get them on board when we're ready. That's okay. Um, the thing is, like you talk about the Caribbean radio and so on, we have to find ways and means of getting the messages out there. So if it is something that could be connected via Zoom or whatever, and we could arrange to have one or two of us, speaking on some of those platforms, then you do that. If there are opportunities, whether via through agriculture or through financing, that we could do things that can bring us together, then however small it is, we work with it from there. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so that's what we got to do.
Okay. And At this point, okay, yeah. I'm still okay. I'm gonna hop off, or I can end it. But I was looking at the Curacao, Haiti, and maybe I don't know Jamaica. We'll see. We'll see, because it's hard to pinpoint the headquarters for these islands. A lot of these islands that are still under the English Kingdom or whatever British Kingdom,
Mhm.
and they speak. There's no language barrier and things. So that's a. We'll see with that. We'll see what we can do, but we'll see. But I'll get back to you guys. But this was a good call. I took
Yes.
some notes as far as re-education program, um, colonization, uh, affects youth. So I'll come back with a plan, and I'll do it rapidly. Won't be a delay.
Yeah, like I said, that financial thing,
Hmm.
that's a good thing, because I think, for example, in the Caribbean, that's one of the areas that a lot of us lack. We most of our education system never catered for
Yeah.
financial literacy. So
Mm-hmm.
so doing that would be very helpful. And then when folks are starting to make money, for example, if we do a program like that and we have folks literally making money, then that is motivation also for them to want to, be more part of what it is that we're going to be putting forward. So they will say, hey, we're making money from this group, this UNIA group. I mean, we need to really, pay more attention, because it's not just a talk shop. It's not just, they're trying to get you to do something. They're actually seeking to help us to get us out of a situation that we're in. So that could be a good start. So however you can see how you can formulate that we could, I don't know how we're going to lay out,
Hmm.
if it's going to be introducing people to a Zoom call, or, something like that, and, have a program like that going, because, we're in a time now where we even though we have the distances, we can still find ways to communicate. And look at it, we have
And
Curious here, we have me in California, and I'm not sure exactly where you are in
I'm
Miami, Florida,
I'm in
but
Jacksonville,
so
North Florida.
there are ways we can do this to begin with, and then seek to get some young people on board and so on, and get them trained, and then get them, after, because if you find people start making money, then it will be easy for them to go out to say, hey, okay, you need to be a part of this, let's get, and then when you get them in, then is where you also make sure that, okay, so now it's not just about them making money. Now you use the opportunity to train them and inform them about the UNIA and Marcus Garvey and what the
Well,
plans are, and how
and
making the money.
what facilities do you have in St. Kitts? Because one of the things that I saw was some sort of annual event where the Rastafari was highlighted by the government. That's why it was kind of attractive to me. But now you're saying it's more like you're going to be doing it maybe without the government to start off. So I'm like, do you have
No, the government.
facilities? The
What you got
facilities?
from the government? What you got from the government and St. Kitts and Nevis? Like I'm telling you,
I know.
Rastafari
I'm saying.
Rastafari was never really welcomed by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. What happened is that a couple of years ago, there was a Rastafari brethren of mine who, he was an educator. He was working for the civil service, and they went into his house and they locked him up for cannabis. And he challenged the case. It took him nearly about 10 years, but he won his case. And his case set a precedence which put the government in a position where they had to do something. So they had to go in the house to make some changes in regards to the law as a result of that case. Then they decided to decriminalize cannabis. And in the process of decriminalizing cannabis, Rastafari played a critical role in terms of the discussions and the debates and the move that they were making. So at the end of that, they decided that they have to give Rastafari credence. So they made certain provisions legally for Rastafari, so that Rastafari could be given a certain amount of respect and credibility. In terms of supporting Rastafari organizations, there's not necessarily much support from the government per se.
And
Um,
where was these debates? Who hosted them? The
it was hosted by the government, most of these
uh,
debates and discussion, because they were seeking to get information to decriminalize cannabis. And
okay.
Rastafari would have been the only persons in the region that were knowledgeable, so to speak, on cannabis. And so a lot of debates and discussions were held with Rastafari in terms of helping them to um, put together whatever they were going to put in the house in regards to
Mhm.
decriminalizing cannabis.
See
And so
those?
as a result of that, then they made provisions for Rastafari. So like for example, for Rastafari and St. Kitts and Nevis, we don't have to pay to get a license for cannabis. So if we want to do a cannabis business, if I want to do a cannabis business on St. Kitts and Nevis, I don't have to pay for a license because as Rastafari, we are given certain credence. Rastafari are allowed to travel with cannabis. We can go, I mean, as many plants as we want to. We're not subjected to the other rules and regulations that other members of the society are given. So that's what happened in regards to what you probably would have seen, where it appears that Rastafari is giving credence.
And as, also, there was a bill passed where Rastafari groups could register, but there's a, I mean, Rastafari, there's like people, I don't know. You could do that. Traditional governments of different forms could come and register. But I think it's a flexible law, but it's something that will be talked about. I gotta talk to people here. There's also a there's I don't know how people feel about University of West Indies or university in general, but I feel my personal thoughts is that the education structure is very it's harmful. As far as having people in different grades, we have our own grade sets. We have to set our own grades, and I don't know. I feel those university structures where you have to wait till you're 20 to start getting educated. I don't know. I don't know about that, but
Well, the
that's
education system in general is
yeah,
not for us.
yeah. So Barbados,
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. The
yeah.
education system was never designed for us. What we follow, a lot of what we are following is what was left by the plantocracy.
So
So a
that's
lot of the leaders, they never have the balls to try to change anything or to put anything into constitution. They just follow what was there because the status
yeah,
quo benefits them and their cronies, and so they continue that. In relation to the Rastafari, you're talking about they having to register. That was because of the fact that one of the things that they did in regards to the cannabis was they sort of kind of put cannabis um as a like a religious doctrine. So Rastafari, what they're claiming now, you would have had to register as a body to claim that you are Rastafari to get these benefits. And that in itself was debated because how do even I could be a Rastafari and I'm not a part of any organization or any group, but you're saying now that if I am not a part of a group, then I might be denied what should be granted to me just because I'm not a part of a group. So that is something that is still debated amongst the people.
mm, okay. All right. That that's I'm thinking Saint. I don't know. I think I should focus some more on Saint Kitts and Nevis as maybe as a base when I talk to people.
Yeah, listening to him, it sounds like you guys kind of have like a solid rapport, kind of like with the government as far as the Rastafarian community, at least.
It's not even a lot of islands. It hasn't even made it that far. Yeah, but
Yeah.
so
Actually,
And like
actually,
to piggyback, I'm sorry to interrupt, but to piggyback off of what you were saying regarding them supporting the Rastafarians, is the same kind of way here in Curacao. So we have the UNIA Division 100, and we have Rasta Moses. Now, Rasta Moses is the president of the UNIA. Um, his vice president is Zeke. So he's constantly, so I don't know if you are familiar with Rasta Moses, but Rasta Moses from head to toe is covered. You do not know he's covered from head to toe. He's had issues in the past when Zeke was in Holland with them acknowledging him being a Rastafarian, him, and his prominence. It wasn't until Ziggy came back from Holland and kind of like made noise where now Rasta Moses can go anywhere, covered. They don't bother him. He can go anywhere, any building, any government building, and but as far as the government kind of promoting or no, it's not happening because it's going to.
Your son, he's covered in a mask, like a carnival masquerade African spiritual gear, feathers and all that.
Right, right.
So they didn't
So
believe he was Rasta.
as far as, but he's had a history here, and they kind of know him. They know him.
As an activist,
The
yeah.
farm is huge,
Wow.
uh, and that's another issue. We have land, and I think that's what kind of sets us apart from a lot of other of the organizations.
Hmm.
But the problem is there's no funding. It's
Yep.
hot here, and it's not just our plantation, but all of the other plantations. A lot of the plantations are coming into where it's so hot, the crops are not growing,
Mm.
and it's creating a problem. The government doesn't want to do anything about it because if they had it their way, they will take your land and give it to the Dutch.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, what? Oh,
Damn.
what? It's bad. It's bad. We are constantly having the Dutch people come in to the plantation or inquiring. The government or the Ministry of Agriculture will just, go see Zeke at the farm. And there's this one Dutch guy who's trying to schmooze um, Zeke into letting him have some acres so
Oh
he can
no.
build like an 800 mil. And that's what I'm telling Zeke, don't mess with this dude. Don't even give him any time of day. Don't even, his energy. Cause these Dutch people, they bad. You think the United States of America, those mongers, they're 10 times worse. These Dutch people are 10 times worse. They're bad. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. And we have a, like I said, it's over 80 acres we have. Um, there's no money.
Hmm.
Membership is down because everybody wants to know what the organization gonna do for me. Well, if you're not in the organization, it's not gonna do anything for you.
Hmm.
Like this is why we, black people as a whole, we come together. We take care of ourselves.
Hmm.
But it's the mentality.
Hmm.
But they'll give the white man their money and everything else.
Now this is good.
We
I
have work to do. We have work
have
to
work
do.
to
We
do.
have work to do.
My next one of my next steps, to start talking to people locally. Your son, I wanted to try to structure things where it's a lot of the English speaking or English decolonization islands are talking to each other. I don't know how that would look. I might just, I don't know. But there's a Trinidad Jamaica conference going on next month, and they were asking for funding too. But I think that would do a lot. They have contacts all over the islands, those Maroons. So we'll see. I think this was a good call. I wrote some notes down as far as what education and finance. One of the hurdles that I was thinking about is I don't know. I'd like to. I don't know. We'll see. I'll work it out as far as one thing I was looking at is the who's gonna like if we did stock markets, who would be reliable? Because it's a person to person thing a lot of times. So I wouldn't want somebody who's teaching where their politics uh, is different or too different from what we're trying to do, and it influences the group negatively. So I gotta look who's the right trainer. It's not only about the knowledge, but it's kind of policy.
Right.
So I think that might come from Texas. It might come from Jacksonville. I was looking at Atlanta, but I don't know about Atlanta. Um, that might be Jacksonville or Texas where trainer comes from. And I didn't get there was a brother from Miami. He didn't pick up, so I don't know. I don't know. All right. I'll just follow through, and you guys will hear from me. And, you guys will hear from me.
Yeah, we structure it. We structure it, especially these stocks and forex and whatever other means of revenue generation. You
Mhm.
structure it, and then if we, because most people would be open to a Zoom call, because I find that is used a lot. So you put an ad out. Okay, well, this is what we're gonna do. You put the link out in the ad, and you have people sign up. They sign up, and then you start. You document, you record,
Yeah.
and then we work from there. You put a plan. You put a plan together, and those who wanna work with it, they benefit from it, and structure it in a way that they now can pass on the teaching to others, or at least encourage others to now become a part of the organizations. And we use the attention, when we do get the attention now, to then interject the other things that we want to in regards to the UNIA and Marcus Garvey, and how better we could come together as a people
Mhm.
to do what we need to do,
And
whether
that
it's agriculture plans, or because agriculture is another way of generating funds also. So
yeah.
helping groups form cooperatives, and being able to put together business plans that can give them grants or other means of funding that they
Yep.
can empower other people in their communities, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Right.
farm it's a translation issue, but farms are they're like temples, shrines, kingdoms. So
And that's why it's
and
so
that's why
important.
it's so
Yeah.
hard. That's why it's actually so hard to organize them a lot of times. Because somebody say, "Oh, this is my part. This is my acre. This is what I want to do." But when farming can be create little dictators, but it's about who can really work together or try to put them in conditions to cooperate. But yeah, cooperation.
Cooperatives, setting up
Yeah,
cooperatives,
yeah.
and function from that perspective.
So that's it's working. I think the Trinidad people, I think they hold like a piece of a forest or something like that where they farm. So it's gonna work, but people, it's well, we just gotta do what we gotta do. It's not nothing supported 100%, but that's this is actually a follow up conversation, Sister Edna. We've talked to Trinidad. We've had we talked to Trinidad. The brother in Barbados, who's UNIA as well, he offered a platform, but I said I'd want to. I said a lot of things, but he doesn't respond all the time, so I don't know. So I wanted to keep it streamlined. The Miami brother, I'm gonna reach out to him too, but if it's too many cities, sometimes it'd be. Now I'm just trying to set up headquarters, so sometimes it's not. I don't need to do multiple cities. Just do a good program in one city, and all these associations and governments will see if they can force their hand to cooperate. So I'll close out. I don't want to draw it out too long, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm at the airport. That's why you hear all this background noise.
Oh, where you going? Because I know that you were in Atlanta before.
Actually, no. I'm renting a car for a couple days. My
Okay.
car is out of commission. So
Mhm.
yeah, this is my usual go-to spot down the street from my house. So
And at one point there was I think Are you like someone who could travel a lot, like to different countries, or do you have like?
I do. I have been. So I'm retired. I
Hmm.
was a government worker for New York City.
Hmm.
I travel often. Um, yeah.
Okay.
I travel often. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I do travel often.
Yeah.
I still have my home back in New York, so I'm back and forth in New York quite frequently, to check on the house and things of that nature. But yeah, I'm
So
in Europe.
wow. Yeah.
I'm actually going to Africa in February. I'm going to Egypt for 3 weeks.
Okay. Okay. So with this, oh, okay. My point for that was, there's offers in Africa, and Africa is actually we're not using the countries format really. We're using the old families that cover like half the continent. Like we're trying to trigger that to go through. But there was an offer at one point. I think Burkina Faso offered, but I know that's a security issue. Right? Anything a security issue, but Burkina Faso's in the news a lot. One brother offered to receive a people there, and they
I
have
remember I saw that on
yeah,
the group chat.
yeah. His name is Kayende, and he has access to the Mogo Naba, which is 40% of the ethnic group there is under that king. They're all like they're under. He's like the godfather of all the villages. All the families nominated him as the king, and that's Burkina Faso is a big part of the Mali Empire, and then connecting all the way to East Africa, the Sahel. So they're building up that thing, and they're welcome to visitors. So that's a big West African capital that
I
connects
would
to
love
East
to
Africa.
visit.
Yeah. So we're gonna put that there. And another thing with the education system, they have something called the dozo, which is like the traditional. It's like the Japanese have the dojo martial arts system. They have something called dozo, where they walk around with rifles and they train people. But that they haven't been trained in African centered uh, cooperation. So it's like bridging the gap, updating this training system with race first principles. But yeah, Burkina Faso is on the map. I think there was a Mali. They have connection to Mali, of course. Chad, it's a strong base. So Nigeria also, we have a base there where we're working on. So, but they have giant divisions. Like those tribes are like divisions and chiefs and villages and mapped out lands. So it's a whole different ballgame. But it's like they're waiting for us, but at the same time, it's like I don't know if they understand that they could help. I don't know. Maybe they can't.
And they could be a tremendous
Yeah,
asset
yeah.
because it'll kind of like give, I don't want to say hope, but it
Momentum.
sounds promising.
Yeah, it's got because they got numbers. Like if the guys 40% of Burkina Faso, that's like I don't know. I think they're 20 million people. That's 8 million people maybe. Yeah, I might get the numbers wrong, but they're in the double digits as far as millions of people. It's just sometimes when we don't have these with these different language media programs, we don't get the
Exactly.
numbers. Like you'll see something in Africa that gets a million views, but nobody in America has heard of it. Or nobody on this side has heard of it. But they got the numbers, but it's just like we don't watch that side of the media. So it's about bridging those language gaps and barriers. And you said New York, they have all those embassies in New York too, man. All those I know Curacao probably doesn't have an embassy, but Jamaica, a
They
lot of
do
those
actually. You know what? They do have an embassy, a Curacao embassy in
New York.
New York, because I remember I got a call. A female from Curacao was having an issue. They took her passport, and this is the Duchess baby. So of course they have a consulate for Curacao.
Yeah,
I
you know,
told her, go to the consulate.
we know we're supposed to have a passport. It's in the
Well,
Constitution.
it's a Dutch passport because, Curacao people have Dutch passports.
That's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad.
Now Dutch people have Curacao passports. That's what it is.
Yeah.
They
But
come and go as they please.
this whole government just needs to be dismantled and they need a new one.
Yeah,
They need a new one.
it's in St. Martin the same thing, I guess. So all right, I'm gonna look at what I need to do next. We have the Biafra group, Biafra Republic Government in Exile. They're fighting. But they have StreamYards and fundraisers and town halls. They got ambassadors in different countries. Like Barbados was one. That's why I was trying to get those guys to cooperate. But they got a liaison there. They got Virgin Islands ambassador. They got one in Anguilla. Got Guyana, South America. So it's gonna move. I just gotta put it together and faster than I put this group together. 'Cause I think it's been 2 months or a month or so, month or 2 months since the last call. So all right, I'm gonna follow through. I gotta do local organizing. I'm gonna try and reach out. I'm gonna try and see the NOI tonight. They got connection, especially in Trinidad. So all right, I'll follow back. I'll follow up.
Okay, guys.
All right.